Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be comparing all three of the different tip designs of the XL Voyager, the new ones released in 2011 by Cold Steel, and I will also compare them to the Espada Large because these are all around 5.5 inches in blade length. The Voyagers are like about 1/10 of an inch shorter than listed, but approximately. Right now, the main difference, or one of the main differences, is the grind. All right, let's take the clip point Voyager. That is a full flat grind. You see, it is stone washed. All right, and the Vaquero is also a full flat grind. See that there? Now the Tanto, this is a partial hollow grind. Alright, and the Espada is also, that very impressive blade, is also a partial hollow grind. Alright, so you have two that are full flat and two that are partial hollow grinds. Now, what is the advantage and disadvantage? Right, well, the hollow grinds, it's going to be very nice for slicing. Right, very nice for slicing through whatever you want to slice. Whereas a full flat grind is better for a shearing cut. That's why, what does a chef's knife have? A chef's knife has a full flat grind, and hopefully you've all at least used one once or twice. So you already know what a full flat grind is good for if you've used a chef's knife. Now, what is a shearing cut? Well, a slice is kind of like opening something up, right? It's a long, somewhat shallow motion, whereas a shearing cut is, basically if you, let's say you are in battle somewhere, hypothetically, and you slice someone's limb, someone's hand off, okay? Cutting someone's hand off, that's a shearing cut, because it's not just slicing or opening up, it's going right through a target. And obviously a flat grind is the best for going right through because there's going to be very little resistance. There's no bevel or anything. All right, so if you're into shearing cuts, or just any mundane chef's knife type duty, you might like the full flat grind. If you're thinking about slicing, which actually a lot of just daily tasks pretty much boil down to slicing, when you open a package, are you chopping through the whole package? No, you're just slicing it open. You're opening it up. Same with skinning an animal. Are you chopping through the whole animal? No, you're just slicing one layer apart from another. All right, so for a lot of daily tasks, you might like the hollow grind. Another major difference is the belly on each of these. The belly is basically the part of the knife where the edge begins to curve back to meet the tip. Right, so the belly is going to be like from here to the tip, and the belly is used for a lot of things. Obviously, you cut like that for skinning, for impact cutting, combat. So the belly has a lot of uses. Hunting knives usually have a big belly because they're for skinning. Right, so you see the moderately full belly on the clip point. Right, and this also has a pretty nice belly. The reason that they sweep back the tip is to give you a fuller belly without making the entire blade wide and, too heavy. You see how this blade is a little bit less wide than this, but the bellies are just as full. This actually gives you a little more because it sweeps back. All right, so those both give you good full bellies. Now the Vaquero, you see it sweeps forward with an S curve, And the point of that is to give you even more full functional belly. You know, the big difference between these, the Vaquero gives you an even fuller belly. All right, so what would that be useful for? Well, for one thing, you know, these are so big, I think they're meant as pretty much tactical knives. So for one thing, a belly like that is all the better for impact cutting, or what you'd call slashing, because obviously when you slash, boom, you know, you don't slash like that. All right, that's a close cut, okay? But a slash strikes with the belly, and since the belly is pushed forward, it just makes it that much more easier to get in a nasty deep slash. So the Vaquero, it's basically specialized for slashing. The Vaquero is also the only one of these that has a recurve. The recurve is specialized for close cutting, what's sometimes called pressure cutting or draw cutting, pull cutting. But you know, you're following the contours of the target. It puts more surface area against a curving target. Okay, more of the edge is contacting, and then this belly can be pulled through, boom, and then pulled through. Right, so this can produce very effective close pressure cuts. Right, very nasty design. And if you want to get technical, you know what you're supposed to do. You're actually supposed to follow the contours of the target until the very end, where you pull the belly through. So you're actually supposed to cut around the target and then pull it through. But you know, that takes a lot of practice, and if you really had to use this under stress, you know, you'd probably forget that finer point. But you know, that's the story on that. Now the Tanto version, Americanized Tanto, it has no belly. You know, this type of Tanto has a sub tip instead of a belly, and the sub tip can be used as a utility, you know, the way you would use a carpentry knife. But in combat it has several uses. There's different techniques, mainly the impact cut. Bam! It will create a it'll create a V-shaped wound that's actually a lot, it will be a lot wider than you would think, or a lot longer, I should say, than you would think. You would think just a small little sub tip, you wouldn't think that would do much, but if you try it out on, like, you know, a tenderloin or something, you'll see it actually makes very nasty wound. And you know, one use of that, let's say your enemy has a lethal weapon, well, you know, boom, precision cut. The samurai used to always try and get the hand right there, because if you cut that tendon right there, this hand is not going to be able to hold that weapon anymore. So boom, the fight's over for him practically. That's just one use. You know, you can do basically surgical close cutting with that sub tip. All right. So the sub tip, it pretty much opens up a whole new family of techniques, which are pretty effective, but you know, you have to understand how to use them, or you know, there wouldn't be much point, so you might as well get the others. And also, you know, the faceted tip of the Tanto, obviously it's meant to have a lot of strength in penetration. So you know, this is basically a thrusting weapon. The hollow grind makes it a slicing weapon, and then the sub tip adds a lot of special techniques. Okay, so overall, very formidable. And now let's get to the Espada. You know, what's the main difference between this, you know, the Voyagers, and this? Well, the G10 is a heavier, tougher material than the Grivery, and you know, and these have aluminum liners. Where I believe this has full liners. It's basically, this is physically a stronger knife. The handle is definitely stronger. It does weigh a little more, and you see this has a bevel right there, okay, making it, the blade itself is stronger, whereas the you can see the full flat grind, there's just less metal, there's less material, so it's going to be physically weaker. This, it's not weak, but you could see how the full flat grind can make it a little bit weaker against lateral force, right? Whereas that, because of that thick part right there, if I try to apply lateral force, I mean, this thing, it's extremely durable, right? So, if one of your major concerns is the durability of the knife, the Espada would win, right? And the Espada is about twice the price of these, but, just look at it. Another big difference, it has a thumb plate opener, which can use a wave opening technique to snag on the pocket, right? Whereas all of these have thumb screw opening mechanisms, right? So if you prefer the Emerson wave type feature, which a lot of people do, then you'll definitely like the Espada. Alright, so to sum things up, the Tanto, it's specialized for slicing, it's specialized for strength in thrusting, and it offers a lot of advanced techniques with the use of that sub-tip. Alright, the Vaquero, it is specialized for slashing, impact cutting, and also for close cutting or pressure cutting. Alright, the clip point, it's multi-purpose. Alright, it has a fairly good belly for slashing, but it's also fairly pointed for thrusting. It's kind of a jack of all trades. It's not the most specialized for any one technique, but it's multi-purpose. Alright, it's solid. Now the Espada, this is the most durable of these. Alright, and it shares a lot of techniques with this. The tip is slight, it's more of a clip point. It is swept back, but thrusting, slashing, slicing, close cutting, this too is kind of a multi-purpose blade. Now people are going to ask, so how do I decide? A lot of people are going to buy more than one. I mean, I've heard already a lot of people are buying several. And who can blame them? There's not much competition in this size range. The other companies aren't, showing up for the fight. But my short answer would be the clip point. If you can only pick one, it's not the best at any one thing, but it's multi-purpose. It'll let you do a little bit of everything. Well, a lot of everything, actually. So if you do your part, you'd be fine with this knife. It can slash, do shearing cuts, close cuts. It can slice pretty well, penetrate, and the price is, it's half the price of the Espada, so take that a little into account. But yeah, if I could only have one, if I had to pick one, I would pick the multi-purpose blade. I'd pick the clip point. All right. Now, if you're absolutely going to some crazy hellhole where you really do think you're going to need a more durable, pretty durable knife, well, that's where the Espada would come in. And if you have a lot of training and maybe you're trained to use the different special techniques that take advantage of either of these designs, well then, that would be to complement specific types of training. All right, so they're all pretty damn good blades, I would say. They're all winners from Cold Steel. The price is right, and they've just done a very good job. I'm sure many people watching this probably might already have one or more of these. All right, so so do I. I'm happy with them, and I hope you enjoyed this little comparison. Hope it cleared some things up. Just my opinions. Stay tuned for many more reviews, comparisons, collections, etc. I'm out of here, dudes. Peace out.